Hello and welcome to National Park Wild. I'm Eric. Zion National Park in Utah is among the most beloved and, in my opinion, most beautiful national parks in the United States. The park's popularity has certainly grown, and the numbers say it all. According to the National Park Service, Zion's visitation skyrocketed from under 3 million visitors in 2013 to over 5 million in 2021. The 5 million tally made Zion the second most visited national park in the United States. It received more visitors than Yosemite, Grand Canyon, and even Yellowstone. Back in 2013, all three of these parks received significantly more visitors than Zion. So the question is, what caused Zion to grow so much in popularity, allowing it to be the most visited national park in the West? One quick piece of information that should be put out there is the fact that in the case of Yosemite and Grand Canyon, 2021 visitation was far from their best. This is more than likely related to a number of factors, including COVID-19 influencing park policy. However, Zion's growth did not seem to be halted by this, and its visitation in 2021 is its highest count of all time. Apart from that tidbit, for this video, outside of visitation comparisons, I will mostly be focused solely on what allowed Zion to expand visitation. Let's compare this to the overall visitation numbers for the entire National Park Service, including all of their sites. Comparing 2013 to 2021, the National Park Service jumped from 273 million to 297 million visitors. A sizable leap for sure, but compared to the years in between leading up to 2020, we see visitation was as high as 330 million a year. So despite receiving around 90% of its highest visitation count in 2021, Zion beat its previous visitation record by over 500,000. This may seem small compared to the changes we've seen in the overall park system, but keep in mind that Zion is one of 423 National Park Service sites, and its record attendance has seen some of the greatest jumps of any national park. Zion is now comparable to Yellowstone in its attendance boost. Comparing these charts, Zion easily beat Yellowstone in terms of attendance between 2020 and 2021. Its change was great because while Yellowstone's attendance increased by around 1 million, Zion's increased by over 1.4 million. These two parks have seen perhaps the most growth, except for Great Smoky Mountains, which I should note received over 14 million visitors in 2021. So how did Zion start consistently growing in popularity in 2013? There is one simple answer, and it's the thing that had an undeniable impact on the popularity of the park and the state of Utah as a whole: the Mighty 5 ad campaign. In March 2013, the official Utah Office of Tourism invested $3 million in an ad campaign to promote tourism in the state of Utah. The state of Utah wanted to market the natural scenery in a way that would attract visitors from around the world. This is because, even though national parks exist to preserve natural and historical landmarks, they need to be able to make money. The national parks bring in travelers, and this in turn brings in profits that can be used to improve national park sites to keep guests safe and satisfied. The primary features of the ad campaign were a now iconic banner displaying the national parks, and a minute-long TV spot. Looking at the TV spot, it is clear that the people who worked on this knew how to create a good advertisement. A combination of breathtaking cinematography, down-to-earth narration, detailed yet mysterious descriptions of activities to do in each park, and inspiring music made this possibly one of the best travel ads ever devised. It wasn't focused on showing constant close-ups of smiling people like most ads for destinations, but rather providing sweeping shots of some of the best scenery in Utah. The ad was a huge success, and that is reflected in the visitation numbers. I can confirm that the ad encourages people to visit because when my family first saw the ad in 2015, we had not even heard of Zion. But in 2016, after having only been to 5 national parks, we traveled to all of the Mighty 5, and I've now been to Zion, Arches, and Canyonlands multiple times. The ad campaign certainly brought many travelers into Utah. Before this ad campaign, Utah's national parks were not the most popular out there. In 2013, Bryce Canyon National Park received 1.3 million visitors, Arches received 1.1 million, Capitol Reef received 650,000, and Canyonlands received 450,000. The Canyonlands' 23 visitor count is less than several other little-known parks, such as Theodore Roosevelt National Park in North Dakota and Biscayne National Park in Florida. Compare these numbers to the Grand Canyon, which received over 4.5 million visitors in 2013, a number which, I might add, was slightly greater than its 2021 visitor count. Looking at the Utah parks in 2021, Bryce Canyon received 2.1 million visitors, Arches received 1.8 million, Capitol Reef received 1.4 million, and Canyonlands received 900,000. Zion's visitor tally is the greatest of them all, bringing in more people than Arches, Bryce Canyon, and Canyonlands combined. Utah's economy is now one of the strongest, and tourism certainly plays a role in this. This ad helped put Zion on the map for millions. The ad encourages many to visit Zion, but there is much more to the increased visitation than this. Let's briefly go over things that allow Zion's crowds to grow. One thing is Las Vegas. This city is one of the most popular for tourists, welcoming over 32 million visitors in 2021. Zion is less than a 3-hour drive from the Harry Reid International Airport, making it an easy day trip for those millions of tourists. The proximity to Las Vegas also explains why Grand Canyon was overtaken by Zion in terms of visitors. Grand Canyon's south rim is approximately an hour and a half of driving further from Harry Reid Airport than Zion is. It seems that the masses are not willing to spend 9 hours driving for a day trip to the Grand Canyon, while 6 hours for Zion is far more favorable. Outside of those driving to Zion, bus tours are very common and are often taken by international tourists. Some bus tours take travelers to Zion and Grand Canyon, but the abundance of visitors traveling by car may help set Zion apart in terms of 2021 visitation. Ultimately, the ad campaign and reputation of Zion National Park are what have allowed it to become so popular. If someone is planning a trip and they Google search Best National Parks, the vast majority of websites will have Zion in the top 10. Many of the most popular sites rank the parks based on visitation, and this popularity might make it appeal to large crowds. This boosts Zion's attendance, allowing it to climb even higher up the list, and thus creating a cycle that continuously extends the park's fame and popularity. It seems the popularity of Zion has not been particularly beneficial for the guest experience. The park has become one of the most congested of them all due to a variety of factors. One major one is the park's size. Zion National Park is around 150,000 acres. Compare this to some of the other most popular parks. Yellowstone is 2.2 million acres, Grand Canyon is 1.2 million acres, and Yosemite is 750,000 acres. Zion receives more people than these parks, but having less room for people to roam makes it seem more crowded, even in the off-season. Another issue is the limited amount of road people can drive on in Zion. From March to November, the majority of the park's road can only be traversed by shuttle bus, bike, or on foot. Visitors can only go as far as Zion Lodge if they are staying there, and can't even enter the Zion Canyon Road if they are not staying in the hotel. The drive from the East Zion Canyon entrance to Zion Lodge is only around 13 miles. The very limited amount of road to drive on means the backups to get to the narrow canyon are possibly the worst of any national park. People can wait upwards to 3 hours just to get through the entrance area. Many have complained about being with hundreds of others on trails such as Angel's Landing, or needing to wait over a half hour to get the shuttle bus to a trailhead. That said, it is important to recognize that these people are all here for the same reason: to have an unforgettable experience at Zion. While individuals may not think they contribute that much to visitation, any single visitor adds to the tally. And with millions of individuals entering the small Zion Canyon, it is clear why some are afraid to return. With the required shuttles, permits sometimes being required for hikes, and even lottery systems to access certain parts of the park, it is clear that a park like Zion was not designed to accommodate as many people as it now needs to. This is similar to the original Disneyland in Anaheim, which is relatively small but must accommodate 18 million visitors a year. Just like Zion, changes had to be made to improve crowd management. However, a national park is much more difficult to develop. The Utah Office of Tourism attempted to move crowds out of Zion in 2019 by making an advertisement that encouraged travel to other lesser-known places in Utah. However, this ad lacked the mainstream appeal and impact of the Mighty 5 ad campaign, so far fewer have seen it, and growth in the attendance of the Mighty 5 continues. So how can you make the most of your trip to Zion without dealing with crowds? The best tips I have are going during the off-season, being anywhere from March to May or September to November, going to the Coalpits Canyon area and hiking Coalpits Wash and Taylor Creek, biking or walking the Scenic Drive, and doing lesser-known hikes such as Observation Point, but even that one has gained popularity. Overall, it seems unlikely that Zion's popularity will reduce unless reservations become required to enter the park. Between advertisements putting the park on many bucket lists, the park's proximity to Las Vegas, and the small size of the park, Zion has undoubtedly become one of, if not the most crowded national parks. This may never change, but hopefully, all visitors will still be able to enjoy the massive and colorful canyons that Zion National Park has protected for over a century.